Hello and welcome to Soul Sensations. Today I am chatting with producer, songwriter, and former lead tenor of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, Mr. Jerry Cummings. Hello, Jerry.
Hey, Steve, how are you over there in the United Kingdom?
I'm great, mate. I know I've run through a bit of a bad patch, but I'm okay now. Well, yeah, I'm getting there. Right. Now we've known each other for a lot of years. And there's a few people that tune in now to the station that want to know a bit more about you, who haven't heard of you. So how about telling us a little bit of background for yourself? Like, where were you born?
Well, I was born in the same hometown as James Brown, who is a cousin of mine in Augusta, Georgia. A lot of people, a lot of things I'm finding out since we met about
Uh-huh.
10 years ago, Steve, is that James Brown and I were raised in the same church, called the United House of Prayer for
Uh-huh.
All People in Augusta, Georgia. And I believe that's where we got our music abilities from. Because when I look back at some of the music from the United House of Prayer, I can hear James Brown's horn section,
Yeah.
and I can hear why I love music so much. So, but Augusta, Georgia was where I was born.
So who were your musical influences as a child? Who did you listen to? Who did you progress to?
Well, my influence as a child was Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke, Jerry Butler,
Jerry Butler,
Curtis
eh?
Mayfield, yeah,
Uh-huh.
Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions, Little Richard, of course, Fats Domino.
Hey,
These
it's
are
all good
probably
stuff.
some people that a lot of folks may not have heard of, but they were very influential
Uh-huh.
in my music desires,
Yeah.
if I might say.
So tell our listeners a little bit about of your background prior. That's before you joined Harold Melvin and his Blue Notes. What did you do?
Well, I've always been involved in music. I was in a drum and bugle corps in Washington, D.C., called the Ambassadors. We had about 200 members. I played French horn and first soprano, and I was like an assistant drum major in another drum corps.
Uh-huh.
I was a police cadet, in Washington D.C. and went through the police academy, became a metropolitan police officer in Washington D.C. I directed traffic and drew crowds, to Washington D.C. to watch me direct traffic. I had
I
a
never knew
very
that.
what they call a flamboyant,
Aye.
very flamboyant style. One newspaper did 4 pictures of me on a Sunday newspaper front
Uh-huh.
page, and so it was always that rhythm. It was
Yeah,
always
you had the
something that
rhythm.
had to do with rhythm and music. So and then my high school group. I had a singing group in high school, but even before that, I sang at a talent show in junior high school in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
And I was singing "For Your Precious Love" by Jerry Butler, and I was
Uh-huh.
playing the guitar. I was playing the guitar, and at the same time, and the microphone started sliding down the pole, and I went down with the microphone on my knees, and the girls went crazy, and the principal, Mrs. Morgan, told me I had started a riot in her school, and she suspended me for 2 weeks. So it's always been some involvement in music. We won the Howard Theater Talent Show in Washington D.C.
Aye.
Right after that, I met Harold Melvin, and one day Harold called me to Philadelphia and
Yeah.
asked me how would I like to become a Blue Note. Well, that blew my mind
Yeah.
because when he asked me to come to Philadelphia, I didn't know that he was asking me to come to Philadelphia because he wanted me to become a Blue Note.
Uh-huh.
But as you know, I became a Blue Note,
Yeah.
and the next thing I know, I was meeting Aretha Franklin and the Dramatics, and I was on my way to London, England, where you are,
Yeah.
and blues and soul magazines, and it just became a dream come true, Steve.
So what tracks? Because I know you write your own music now, and you have written music. Were you any influence on any of the tracks that Harold Melvin and Teddy Pendergrass performed? Because I'm sure you wrote one or two of them,
Well,
or you were involved with one or two of them.
I was the one that a lot of times, to be honest with you, Teddy and I found ourselves in the studio alone, with McFadden and Whitehead,
Yeah,
who wrote "Ain't No Stopping Us Now," and they wrote
brilliant
"Wake
track.
Up Everybody."
Yeah,
They wrote "Bad Luck." They wrote a lot of our songs, but I always found myself in the studio with Teddy.
yeah,
I was very influential in pushing him, and I don't like to talk about it, because it's show business. But I
right.
was very influential in pushing Teddy to reach higher, to go to church on Bad Luck, and
Uh-huh.
all because of a woman, which is one of my favorite songs on
Yeah,
the Wake Up Everybody album and the To Be True album. I just enjoyed pumping him up because Teddy had that rough gospel type voice, and I
yeah,
had that soprano tenor
yeah.
type voice, and we kind of matched each other. So I was very influential in pushing Teddy, and that's why I think we became best friends.
Yeah.
And I became a family member, and so my influence came in really pushing Teddy to the
Yeah.
limit,
You're actually a
pushing
part.
him.
Yeah. You're actually a part of the Pendergrass family now, aren't you? Really, you are an adopted brother, an adopted son for Ida.
Well, I'm like, I am a son. She calls me her other son.
Uh,
She's 103 years. I hear from her every month. She sends me a letter. She actually writes me a letter at 103. I send her cards every month, flowers, gifts, for
yeah.
holidays. And now that, hopefully before the year's out, this is 2021.
Yeah.
Hopefully before the year's out, I will get to visit her in Philadelphia.
That would be
I
nice.
haven't seen her in a couple of years, and I really miss her, and just want to give her a kiss and a hug,
Yeah.
and love her so much, just like
Yeah.
she was my real mother, really.
Well, I think the last time we seen Ida was when you performed "No One Compares to You." Is that correct? Was it 100th birthday or 101st birthday you performed that to her?
That's the first time. That's the last time I saw her in
Yeah.
person. I've
Hmm.
seen I've seen her on FaceTime,
Yeah.
over the computer, on her birthday, but I haven't been there in person, and
Yeah.
that's what Gloria and I want to do. We want to be able to travel to Philadelphia before the end of the year, that we
Yeah.
may be able to spend time with her in
Uh-huh.
person again.
Yeah. So, what was it like working with Gamble and Huff in the studio?
Well, it was a dream come true because I used to listen to their production work with Jerry Butler on the Iceman Cometh album.
Yeah.
I think that was I don't know, that might have been in the '60s
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
did Jerry Butler, the Iceman Cometh. And then they had Tom Bell doing arrangements back then. Only the Strong Survive. I was listening to that stuff before I even
Brilliant
met
track.
them, before I even knew that I was going to, that they were going to be my producers one day.
Yeah.
So it was like a dream come true to be able to sit down at the piano with Tom Bell, to be able to sit in Kenny Gamble's office and Leon Huff's office. It was like a dream come true. And I tell everybody, it's still, I have to pinch myself sometime,
Hmm.
when I'm in a store and I may hear one of the songs that we recorded, and it's like a dream come true. I was in Staples, an office store here yesterday, and
Uh-huh.
one of the managers said, "Where's my book From Gold to Glory?" I just happened to have one with me in the SUV, and signed it for him. He was a
Uh-huh.
Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes fan. So I'm really, I just turned 70 years old, and I'm really excited about the future.
Yeah.
Know,
Mhm.
um, writing this autobiography and having you as my friend over
Yeah.
in England. And then, we had some orders to come in from England
Yeah.
since we played the commercial.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
all good
I'm
stuff.
excited.
Yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
be talking about your book
Um,
in the second part of our interview. But until then, a quick one. Now, do you still have the Shabbat Radio Network? Because you had a radio network for gospel at one time. Do you still preach gospel?
oh, yeah, I preach gospel. Yes, I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today if I wasn't into the Word of God.
Uh-huh.
I'm on every Thursday. I'm on every Thursday live on Facebook, 7 o'clock
Yeah.
Central Standard Time, and so I'm teaching from there. And I still have people all over the country in Canada.
Yeah.
I see that you come on in England.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I'm there.
We
Yeah,
have
when I
people
can.
in all
Yeah.
over the United States. We have people tuning in. I started the School of the Prophets University a
That's the
few
one.
years back, and I started with five. I started with 5 people. The School of the Prophets University is now over 1,100 people.
That is massive.
So
That's brilliant.
yeah, I'm still teaching the Word of God. I'm still doing music. I got a new CD coming out
Yep. Yeah, we're going to be
probably
chatting about
about
that
two
later.
weeks from now.
Yeah, it's going to be great, man.
Yeah. So I'm still busy. I thought I'd be retired by now, Steve.
No, not a chance. Not a chance. Well, I tell you what we're going to do, Jerry. We're going to have a break from music, play some of your brilliant tracks while you were with Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, and also some of your new solo tracks as well from your new CD. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful, and I really appreciate you giving
Yep.
me this time
Oh,
to
that's all right,
share
mate.
with people.
We'll be back with you in around about 10 or 15 minutes. Hello and welcome back to part two of our exclusive interview with Mr. Jerry Cummings, former tenor of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Philadelphia International Records here on Soul Radio USA. Welcome back, Jerry.
Well, thank you so much, Steve. I've really enjoyed the first segment of this interview, and I know I'm going to enjoy this
Oh, yeah.
second segment. Thank you so much.
Well, this is where we're going to tell everybody about your new CD and your new book. So first of all, let's talk about we'll talk about the new book. So what's the book called? And tell me a little bit about what it's about. What is From Gold to Glory?
The book is called From Gold to Glory, and I was told about 20 years ago that I should one day do an autobiography because someone felt that I have had a very wonderful career and need to share the ups and downs that I had experienced in life. And so about a year ago, I started writing From Gold to Glory. And my wife, Gloria, she helped me with the editing and, we got a draft done, and I talk about growing up in Augusta, being in the church at the United House of Prayer, the musicians, and my grandmother was an usher there, and just listening to the music and the brass, and we used to play on foot tubs. We used to call them. We used to have what they call foot tubs, where we actually wash clothes, in a big tub, and we used to beat on them with sticks and like we were playing drums, and we could hear the music coming from the house of prayer from where I lived at. So we were always play acting. When we saw Little Richard on the Ed Sullivan Show, we would play act. I'm Little Richard. I'm James Brown. And so I talk about growing up in Augusta, moving to Washington, D.C., seeing my first talent show when I was about 9 years old, and not knowing what a talent show was, and eventually getting in the talent show. And just, again, I mentioned to you the drum and bugle corps, and just staying. And then high school, my group. I talk about my singing group and how I met Harold Melvin, and how one day he called me to Philly to become a Blue Note. I wasn't singing soprano. I could sing soprano and tenor back then, but we had another tenor in the group, so I let him sing tenor, and I just sung baritone or whatever. But when
Yeah.
Harold Melvin heard me sing tenor, he told me never to sing anything but tenor again. He said, "You are a tenor soprano." He said, "Never sing nothing, but that voice again." He told me that he had been looking for someone like me for about 20 years. And like I said, the next thing I know, I'm in England,
Yeah.
I'm in Detroit, I'm in Canada, I'm all over the world as a member of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. So I talk about the ups and downs
Yeah.
of the industry. A lot of times people see us on stage, we got on tuxedos, but they don't see what goes on behind the stage. They don't see the
No.
arguing. They don't see the near fights that almost happen. They don't see, we come out smiling, but a lot of times there was some stuff going on in the dressing room
Mm.
before we came out. And
Yeah.
I talk about that,
It's
I
all
talk
good.
about I talk about the many shows, Soul Train,
Yeah.
my dream being on Soul Train, the Midnight Special, the Donna Shore Show, Mike Douglas Show. I
Yeah.
talk about all of those incidents, the Apollo Theater and Kool and the Gang, and
Yeah.
it's just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful,
Insight.
book to read. We had Jerry Cole
Yeah.
from England today posted, it was a great reading. He read the whole book, and he said it was great. Wow, this is a great book. So we
Uh-huh.
want to ask people, to go to our website, order the book, read it, be encouraged, be empowered,
Yeah.
because it is really, I'm excited when I read it, um, and I know that the audience will love From Gold to Glory.
Yeah. Now, I do believe there's a little story in that book. Because do you remember me and you were chatting about My Hero, the track My Hero? Because we were talking about My Hero on your new CD that's coming out. But what happened about that track and Carnegie Hall? Would you like our
Uh,
listeners to know about that?
I want to be honest with you. That night at Carnegie Hall, first of all, Carnegie Hall was my dream again because I saw Lady Sings the Blues with Donna Ross, and I remember her manager in the movie telling her, "You're going to Carnegie Hall." I'd never heard of Carnegie Hall until
Yeah.
1971 when I watched the movie,
Yeah.
and so finally Harold said, "We're going to Carnegie Hall," and I said that was my dream. Harold never told me that I was going to sing My Hero that night. But a
No.
guy named Sid Bernstein, who brought the Beatles to America for the
Yeah.
first time, 1965, he was the promoter. And one of his favorite songs was My Hero. So he, when he found out that I could sing My Hero, he asked Harold to let me sing it, at Carnegie Hall. I didn't know that the orchestra had the music and the horns had the music, and that
Yeah.
Harold was going to turn around after we got through singing The Love I Lost. Harold spins around to the orchestra and shouts, "My Hero," and I said, "Wait a minute." And then he said, "Step up to the mic." He said, "Step up to the mic, Jerry. Step up into the center." And Teddy stepped back and I stepped forward. The orchestra started playing and I
Yeah.
sung My Hero. My Hero was the uh, theme of the opera, The Chocolate Soldiers. It was
The
an
Chocolate
opera
Soldier.
play.
Yeah.
And and so I sang it. Next thing I know, people were standing up and shouting bravo, and then Harold said, "Take a bow," and so I never heard it until this year.
Yeah.
47 years later, they tell me that it was in a university vault, and I need to call and see if I could get it. Well, I
Yeah.
called the university vault, and I spoke to the guy who was over the vault, and he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "We got My Hero from Carnegie Hall." I said, "Well, can I said, can you send it to me? You know, and I said, I figure he gonna charge me a couple grand, you know, to send it to me. And
Yeah,
he said, well, let me digitize it first. Let me digitize it, and I'll make a great a digital copy of it, and I'll send it to you. I said,
yeah.
well, how much is it gonna cost? He said, Jerry, he said, I won't charge you a dime. I
Wow.
could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. So about 2 weeks later, in February of this year, 2021, he
Yeah.
sent me the file. You know, I sent it to Philadelphia to my engineer Craig White, and we went to work on it.
Yeah.
And then I think you were one of the first ones to hear it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
We promoted it and launched it here in the UK, and it got to number
yeah.
one in the
And
soul
then
charts.
it went number one, you know, and now it's going to be on the new CD.
Brilliant.
It's called Then and Now. The
Yeah.
new CD is coming out in about 2 weeks. My Hero will be the first song on there live at Carnegie Hall. And so,
Brilliant.
you know, again, we're going to encourage everybody. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's historical.
So
1974, October the 19th, 1974, Carnegie Hall. You know, it's going. I mean, I'm
awesome.
excited.
Yeah.
You know,
So what
and
other tracks will we be able to hear on the new CD? Some new stuff
well,
or some old stuff?
oh yeah, we're going to hear things that I never really released. This is like a major release this time. You know,
Yeah.
you have heard segments of things that I've done in the past,
Yes, I have got
Stephen.
quite a
You
few.
But the public has never had the opportunity, first of all, to have My Hero live at Carnegie Hall.
No.
We did a total remix. We did a total remix on Oh What a Woman
Yeah.
with Don Robinson did a new arrangement on it. And Don Robinson produced people like Stephanie Mills. He produced people, the lady, who was that? There was Miss America. She
Oh my
did a
God, I don't
song
know.
she was
Um.
Miss America. I can't think of her name right now, but he's done a lot of artists. He's worked with a
Yeah.
lot of artists. And so he did a remix of Oh What a Woman. Of course, the song that I sung to Mother Ida Pendergrass, No One Compares to You. You
Beautiful
know,
track.
it's been, you know,
Yeah.
and some of the older things that I did. It's My Pleasure is on there, you
Yeah.
know. So it's going to be really exciting. The picture's not in black and white. The picture's now in color, you know, and
Yeah.
new jackets, you know. So I'm excited about the book From Gold to
Mm.
Glory. I'm excited about the CD,
Yeah.
you know, Then and Now,
So
and of course,
sorry, Jerry. I was going to say, when will the book be officially launched? When can people get out of it? I know they're going to reserve the copy now, but when is the official release date?
well, I have some hard covers now, and those are limited editions that I signed personally and sent out to those who want the hard covers. You know, the
Uh-huh.
book will be officially released on September the 22nd. It'll
Brilliant.
be in Barnes and Nobles worldwide. You know, it'll
Yeah.
be on Amazon. It'll be in Target stores, you know, it'll be just
Yeah.
about in all of the bookstores everywhere around the world. But that release, the major release, is September the 22nd, you know, which is a couple weeks away.
Yeah. Yeah. And the CD will be released shortly after. Is that correct?
The CD will be out at the same time.
Same
And of
time.
course, you know, the people need to know the website is from goldtoglory.com.
Yeah.
From goldtoglory.com and go to the store. And those will be the only two items that will be available will
Yeah.
be the book, the hardcover book from Gold to Glory, and the CD called Then and Now by Jerry Cummings.
Absolutely brilliant. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to them both. Because I've got some of your tracks, the early releases that you've done, and they're fantastic. So to be revamped and restyled and reorganized, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be absolutely brilliant.
I'm looking forward to it, really.
Yeah.
And
Right,
thank you for all
Jerry.
of all of the interviews we've done over the years.
Oh yeah, it's been a pleasure. You know, I class you now as actually my brother because I've known you for that long, and we chat all the time. You know, it's a privilege to be a friend of yours.
Well, it's my pleasure and it's a privilege to be a friend of yours too, Steve.
Jerry, it's been great chatting with you, my good man. All right. I know you've got to get away. So once again, many thanks for joining me here on Soul Sensations. Before you do go, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I just want everybody to know that when you make up in your mind that you want to accomplish something, you have to be dedicated to it, and then you have to be determined that you're going to make it. And eventually, sometimes you can't even explain things, how it all came about. But as long as you have the desire, and the dedication and the determination, you're going to eventually get to your destiny. And that's basically what I want to say. And I want to say thank you to everyone that has backed the visions that I've had. That hasn't been easy, but it ain't really been that hard, because I have friends like Steve Harris over in the UK. I have a wonderful wife, Dr. Gloria Cummings, and I have wonderful people who have been watching and listening through the years. And I want to say thank you to everybody that has backed and prayed and helped me get to this point.
Jerry, it's been a great pleasure, mate. Great stuff. You take care now. We speak soon.
All right.
Cheers, mate.
Okay, I'll be talking to you. I talk to you all the time anyway, so I'll be talking to you soon.
We'll be chatting at the weekend. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. God bless you.
Bless you. Thank you.